Everybody feels alone. Everybody feels lonely. It doesn't matter at what age. We all go through that. After 50, it's more pronounced.
Did you push record?
Thanks for tuning back into our second act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life. Hi again, Silka.
Hello, Paige. Paige, today we want to continue on our emotional health series. Big topic, big topic is being alone, and feeling lonely. It is written about, if you just Google loneliness after 50, everything comes up. Mostly women feeling lonely, which I thought was interesting. I then also Googled men specifically to see what came up. There was much less. And one of the points was that men, although they feel, I think it said like 1/3 of men actually are lonely, that they don't express it as much because of the stigma associated with it. What I wanted to get your opinion on today is, one, addressing the stigma of loneliness and what we can do about it.
Like we talked about off camera, I hear this every single day with my clients, every day, that people are alone. So I want to say that everybody feels alone. Everybody feels lonely. It doesn't matter at what age. We all go through that. After 50, it's more pronounced because people are sick, they're dying, or they're spending more time with their family. Whatever it might be that you don't feel the same community that you do in your 20s and 30s, because it's so different. There's so many things that have gone on in our life before we've reached 50 that we start to kind of look at our life too and go, wow, what kind of life do I have right now? What kind of life do I want? Maybe I'm not living in the place I want to live. Maybe I'm not doing what I want to do. Maybe my relationship is not fulfilling enough for me. Maybe I'm not in a relationship, and that makes me feel alone too. So what I always see is we're always searching for something we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And the big part is how do you embrace what you do have? So that's another segment too. But about being alone, it is not a bad thing about being alone. So number one, you have to learn to first decide that it's not bad to be alone and spend time with me. Mm-hmm. You have to get comfortable and embrace that and start to really enjoy the time with you, whatever that might look like, and start to decide what could that look like. Number two, if there's pockets of your life that you want to shift and change so you're not so lonely, then start to do some soul searching on, are there hobbies? Are there things you want to try? Are there things that you want to get, learn that you haven't learned before? Are you afraid to reach out and ask a person if they want to do something for fear of rejection? You have to start to know. It's like going back to being 15 again. Oh my God, I'm in high school and I have to go to a new school and I don't know anybody. And oh my gosh, I have to ask them, what if they say no? I'm not going to have a friend. We go through the same damn thing we went through when we were a little kid. It just repeats itself and looks a little different.
I love that point, and I drive that home so much. That's kind of how this whole second act got started, because I realized after 50 that I felt like I was back in high school dealing with all these issues at a different age.
That's what happens. We always deal with the same themes, same issues. So we're always peeling away layers. And remember, when we're after 50, life has beaten us up a little bit more. Maybe we have some medical stuff, some illness. We've gone through some grief, some loss. So it goes back to how resilient am I as well, too. And that's another segment as well. But it's just so people out there know that everybody feels lonely. Everybody feels alone. But there are things that you can do about it if you want to do something about it. Sometimes people after 50 kind of become more of a hermit, and they really have a lot of fear of dipping their toe out there and trying something for failure or rejection, or what if I don't like it? And they lose the child in themselves of, wow, that curiosity of, I'm going to try this. What's the worst thing that can happen today? So it's really important to ask yourself, what's the worst thing if I make a call and reach out and try and get a new friend? They say they're busy. They say they can't do it. Okay, that's not about you. try something else.
Well, and I read, and that made this quote or in an article, but it said that really getting over loneliness, the key things is attitude and action. And I think that's what you just said. You know, we embrace being alone. You know, we've often said, you know, I love my alone time. Well, what do you love about it? You know, and then taking action to not be alone. There's also, you just brought up a good point about reaching out, you know, and how do I get a new friend, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of websites now or platforms similar to dating sites that are dedicated to finding friends after, you know, as we age. So again, it's something that you're not alone in this, you know, with this issue. This is something we all deal with.
So when you were talking about like the sites that are similar to dating, there's a lot of people who don't feel comfortable doing that because of what they'll say to me is, I don't know what this person's going to be like. And, you know, the scary stories that the media tells about what happens on these sites. So what I always say to them is first create a list of hobbies and things that you enjoy. Okay. So say you like cooking or you like yoga or you want to take a pottery class. It starts with you first. Decide what you like to do, okay? Once you decide that, then start to step out to find classes or workshops or trainings. So that when you're there, look to find friends that are doing the same thing that you're doing. It's a lot easier finding friends than it is about, you know, dating with that. But now you're at a space and a place that you already love what you're doing. It's fulfilling you. And now you're getting icing on the cake because you're meeting people in the same place. So that's a really important thing. It comes back to what do you want to do, what feeds you, and then go out there and do it among other people who are doing the same thing.
Yeah, great point. I mean, it's so obvious, but when you just said that, that made so much sense. If you start with yourself, do what you really want to do. Now all of a sudden you're doing what you want to do.
Right. And sometimes you don't know what that is after 50. And sometimes, like you had said, it's about attitude and action. It's really easy to say it's about attitude and action. But when people come to me after 50, they don't have the attitude or the action because they're so depleted and they're so beat up and they've got grief and they've got trauma. So if that's where you are, work with a coach, a therapist, a healer to work on that part, to start like releasing that so space can be open for you to have a better attitude, to build resilience, to want to do the things that you want to do. Because when all that stuff gets in the way, it's really hard to just have an attitude and to take action because that stuff's weighing you down. So just know if that's happening first, work on that first. If you're at the place where, heck yeah, I can decide what I want to do and I'm going to make a list and I'm going to jump into things that I want to do and then I'll meet people, then go to that space too. Does that make sense, Soka?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for saying that, because in no way, shape, or form was I implying this is easy.
Oh, gosh, I know you know it's not easy.
I know how hard that is. So thank you for yes, if I came across like that, no. But it does come down to attitude and action, but you have to get yourself into that right frame of mind. And one of the things, of course, that we try to, you know, drive home on this show is that always expect that the best is still ahead. Mm-hmm. And I know that's much easier said than done. But somehow I think if you believe it, you know, I believe, and we are coming to the end now, so I'll leave it at this, is that whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And I, as hard as it is, you know, choose to believe that the best is still ahead.
I want to add one more point in that. Yeah. Each day, at the end of your day, before you're going to bed, write down 2 things that were special about your day, that gave you some type of fulfillment or something that you tried. Focus on just 2 things. If you have more, great. But there are some days where we go, what the hell? I don't even know if I can pull out one. You can always pull out one. There's always one that you can pull out. And that kind of helps you to get the action and the behavior and realizing that, you know what? Hey, it is great today, even if it's being outside, looking at the mountains or the water or the trees and going, oh my God, that's absolutely incredibly beautiful. And I have a wonderful feeling. So just know there's so many different things that you can look at each day to go, this is really great. I'm 50 some, 60 some, 70 some, and it's still great.
No, absolutely. And I would encourage people, please leave us your comments, engage with us. If there are other topics that you'd like to see us cover, let us know. We get it. And Paige, we'll see you next time on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life. Bye.
Please be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. The button is right here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see that little bell next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you soon.